our look at their players and their approach. Class acts, the entire Diamondbacks staff. There is no doubt about it. All right, we're ready to roll here. One more for the road, as Steve Bethune said. So when we come back, we'll get it to the capable hands of Steve and Bob. They have the call. It's the Padres and the Diamondbacks. And guess what? It is next.
You'll see in all the ballparks across the major leagues, there is nothing like a Sunday at Petco Park in San Diego. They do a phenomenal job of honoring our servicemen and women here. And the Padres are to be congratulated. James Shields taking the mound in their Sunday home camouflage jerseys. Marines all over the field and in the seats. BB, this is always a very impressive show on a Sunday here at a Padre game.
Yeah, it really is. I think all the soldiers upstairs that we showed you applauding and going crazy are rooting for their drill sergeants down on the field to goof up so they can get on them tomorrow. But the drill sergeants handled their duties well.
They have got the look. It's an impressive 9 when they take the field. 9 Marine drill sergeants out there. You don't want to make a mistake.
Yes. No.
It is a sight to see, that's for sure. Beautiful day here for this final road game of the season for the Diamondbacks. A chance to close out the Padres today and make both this season's final road series and road trip a winner rubber game at Petco. D-backs 5-4 on the 10-game trip, and the last one of the year before you finish at home this week at Chase Field. Your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for San Diego is 33-year-old right-hander James Shields. One of the Padres' big free agent signees this winter, and he's having a strong finish to the season. He's 4-0 in his last 5 starts. Here's D-backs sitting coach Turner Ward.
He got us pretty good the last time, and we got him the time before that, so now we're going to get the rubber match with him. He's a good pitcher. He knows how to pitch. He mixes up his speeds real well, off all of his pitches. He's just a good quality pitcher, and that's why he's been around the league.
James Shields, 5th in the National League in strikeouts. He has had control issues this year. He's walking batters at nearly twice the rate he did last season. He's also, as he always seems to do, giving up too many homers. Only 3 pitchers in the league, in fact, have allowed more home runs.
And part of the reason for that is the fact that James Shields throws a lot of fastballs, a lot of 4-seamers. He'll mix in a cutter, mix in a 2-seam sinker. He also has a really good straight changeup that he'll go to, and an occasional curveball. But pitchers at the major league level that throw a lot of fastballs tend to give up a lot of home runs.
Take a look at the lineup for Chip Hale's Diamondbacks that will face James Shields. No goalie today.
A little bit of a different look. Ender Inciarte leading off out in right field. He's had himself a really nice road trip up till today. Aaron Hill at second base, A.J. Pollock in center field, David Peralta filling that cleanup spot. He'll be out in left. Jared Saltalamacchia doing the catching. Yasmani Tomas filling in for Goldie at first base. Jake Lamb at third. Chris Owings at short, and Zach Godley on the mound.
Scheduled off day for Goldie, Chip Hale told us this morning, although we do expect to see Paul in there at some point, either as a pinch hitter or a late defensive replacement. Anthony Johnson is our plate umpire. Set him up, Joe. One more for the road in 2015. Ender Inciarte leads it off with a base hit up the middle. And Ender's aboard. Good start for the Diamondbacks.
That ambush in full effect. It seemed like the Diamondbacks offensively are at their best when they come out aggressively in the early part of the ball game. You can't get much more aggressive than this. First pitch base hit right back up the middle of the field.
Ender just outside the top 10 in the league and hitting at 299 on board to open up the ball game. And here's Aaron Hill, getting a second consecutive start at second base. 232 with 6 home runs. Aaron 1 for 4 yesterday. He's got 4 hits on the road trip, including a double and a homer. Diamondbacks immediately take James Shields out of the windup, and he's got that funky set position where he just sort of, I don't know, waggles, wiggles, slithers, something.
I don't know how you describe it, but it's unusual.
We saw Clayton Kershaw the other day where he reaches his arm straight up over his head and then comes back down. Shields starts very low and then kind of sachets his way up right there.
We've said it before, he doesn't need a pitching coach, he needs a choreographer.
Or a chiropractor.
Yeah. You know, talking about Ender Inciarte and his pursuit of the top 10 in the National League in batting average, the 2 guys that he's going to have to pass, and right now it appears to be Francisco Cervelli of the Pirates at 304 and DJ LeMahieu of the Rockies at 305. And with the Rockies rolling in for the next 3 home games, chance for the Diamondbacks pitching staff to help Ender Inciarte get in that top 10 if they can hold DJ LeMahieu down.
First of 3 against Colorado Tuesday at Chase Field. Aaron Hill strikes out. Anthony Johnson may have missed one here. Let's see. They come inside. Yep, off the plate, but it's called strike 3. Can't fault Aaron Hill for taking that pitch. Here's A.J. Pollock now. All 1 to A.J., who is 6th in the National League with a .318 batting average. And he's got 19 homers. A.J. is the next guy on Chip Hale's list who is due for an off day, Chip told us this morning. And he will give A.J., he says, a day off in the upcoming series against the Rockies starting Tuesday. Somewhere in there, A.J. will get the day off. Brett Wallace over there at first collided with Inciarte. See if Ender's okay. They got a little tangled up over there.
I think that ball might have hit Ender Inciarte, kept it from going into foul territory right there. Wallace just kind of falls on top of Ender to make sure he can't advance. The ball doesn't get far enough away anyhow.
Ender holds it first. A.J. squares to bunt. Yes, he went. Jordan Baker down there at first. A.J. doesn't agree. That's Jordan Baker, our gum-chewing umpire from a couple of years ago.
Hold it back. May have been just a tad late. Certainly for Jordan Baker, it was too late.
Jordan had a habit of chewing gum and changing his wad of gum every half inning and discarding the used gum in the outfield.
Until there was a pile of pink chewed gum laying in the outfield by the end of the ball game.
Fortunately, Major League Baseball cleaned that up. He appears to be gumless here today. Maybe he switched to mints or something. Uh-oh. Well, maybe not.
Unfortunately, that's a common sight around a baseball park. Even though there's 6 trash cans in both dugouts, the gum always finds its way onto the field.
Along with the seeds and everything else. 2-2 now. Cardinals just scored a touchdown. They're up on the Saints 7-0. Although it's going to make for an interesting week of sports talk radio after the college football performances last night. Ouch bit.
And we got home in time to see the second half of the ASU game. Wow.
Yeah.
Quite a shock when I turned that TV on and saw the score.
AJ strikes out. Good pitch there by James Shields. Back-to-back strikeouts after the Inciarte single. 2 down now for Peralta.
Mentioned that Shields changeup. That's his go-to pitch with 2 strikes. Really good one for some fading action. Good arm speed.
James Shields is going to get his share of strikeouts. 5th in the National League. Peralta back in there against the right-hander. Padres overload the right-hand side. There's ball 1. David is 8th in the National League with a .308 batting average. And he's got 16 home runs. He is 0 for 4 in the series.
David with good numbers against Shields in his career. 3 for 6 with a homer and a double. You would figure that the ball would jump pretty good here at Petco Park today. It's been jumping pretty good for the night games, but it'll be a hot afternoon here in San Diego.
Very warm, sunny day, not a cloud in the sky overhead. There goes Inciarte. Spangenberg is there to cover. The second baseman playing third today in a familiar spot, and he's there to catch the throw from Derek Norris. Let's see if Chip Hale wants to challenge. I'm going to say with the shift on here, Spangenberg, who often plays second base, is right used to where he's being to be. Let's see.
I think we're going to win this. Looked like Ender got that foot on the bag clearly ahead of the tag.
Andy Fletcher is the second base umpire, and the headsets are coming on. This will be a Diamondback challenge. That's one benefit of having Spangenberg out there, who's played a number of different positions. He's in there at third for Yangervis Solarte, who's got a hamstring, but Spangenberg has played second all year. So no problem for him taking that throw from the catcher Derek Norris. It's another replay review brought to you by Mix One. Here's a look.
Only possible wild card here is if Spangenberg blocked the base with that left foot. Did Ender have his foot on the base, or did he have his foot on Spangenberg's foot?
Andy Fletcher in perfect position to make the call.
Chance to socialize during the replay review. Ender Inciarte talking it over with Travis Jankowski out there in shallow center field.
Sure looks from there like he's in there.
Yeah.
If the call's overturned, it'll be the 21st stolen base of the year for Ender. If it's not, 10th time he's been caught. Both those guys are extremely good base runners on the right there, Ender Inciarte and Travis Jankowski.
Yeah, we touched on it briefly in the open of the show, talking about Corey Spangenberg and all the young players in the game that are making a name for themselves this season, and they're kind of the same guy. They're athletic, they have good speed, they play multiple positions, carry themselves well offensively, they can steal a base. I think of Matt Duffy in San Francisco, Spangenberg and Jankowski here. The game is kind of trending back toward a more athletic player because of the change with the PEDs and the lack of home runs and the pitching dominance.
Better defenders, better base runners, guys that use the whole field, don't rely on pulling everything so much. And the call is overturned. He is safe at second base. A stolen base for Ender. And Chip Hale wins his challenge, as he has so often this year. So 21st steal of the year for Inciarte. And an updated look at our replay review standings brought to you by Mix One. So it's a 3-0 count on Peralta. 2 outs at Inciarte at second. And there's ball 4. So quickly here, first and second, 2 down for Jared Saltalamacchia. Padres will leave the overshift on the right-hand side for Salty. He's got 4 homers and 9 RBIs in his last 10 games. Ball 1.
Looking to break through against James Shields. Of course, they faced each other in the American League, and so far Shields has had the better of it. 0 for 14 against the Padres right-hander.
Ouch. Shields, a longtime Tampa Bay Ray, Salty with Boston for several years. Shields has not had great control lately. The walks have really piled up his last 6 starts or so. He's behind 2-0. He has walked 4, at least 4, 5 times in his last 8 starts. This one up in the air, but he got under it a bit. Matt Kemp fighting that sun. It's bright out there. The Shield strands 2 just underway at Petco Park. Pitcher for the Diamondbacks, Zach Godley. Chip Hale told us this morning he does have a specific amount of innings in mind at which he will cap Godley today and then go to Yolis Chacin, but they wanted Godley to get a start here today against the Padres. Here is Chip Hale.
I think it's just been limiting his innings, whether we start him and pitch him fewer innings or if he pitches in the bullpen once every 4 or 5 days. So I just wonder, and hopefully he'll have his stuff and he'll be effective tomorrow because he has not really pitched competitively for a while, and that'll be an interesting thing to see. He's so intense, he's so competitive with himself that I think he'll be okay.
So it's Godley to start. Chacin standing by. Zach, one of the big finds of this 2015 season, coming over from the Cubs in the Miguel Montero deal last winter. And there's strike one to Travis Jankowski. A 5-1 record, a 3.48 ERA.
Yeah, he has warmed up in the bullpen a few times on this road trip, but out there to start the ball game today and go as deep as he can given his pitch count.
And the Diamondbacks trying to monitor very closely those innings in September. And if he's in the bullpen, he's up and down, warming up. This way, they feel, as a starter, they can better monitor the workload for Zach and create predictable innings for Godley. And try and control things a little more. Tapper back to the mound. One down. The lineup for Pat Murphy's San Diego Padres.
Travis Jankowski and his speed at the top of the order. He'll be out in center field. Corey Spangenberg at third base. Matt Kemp red hot over his last 6 ball games. He'll be out in right field. Former D-back Justin Upton in left field. Brett Wallace getting a start at first base today. Jed Jerko at second. Derek Norris once again behind the plate. Alexi Amarista at shortstop, and right-hander James Shields on the mound.
Well, here is Corey Spangenberg. We highlighted him at the top of our broadcast, hitting .375 against the Diamondbacks this year. And there's ball one. He had 3 hits last night, including a pair of doubles. He's at .265 on the year.
Not only a good hitter with good speed, but he'll take his walks. Real good eye for the strike zone, getting on base against the D-backs at about a .440 clip.
Yeah, you're right, Bob. The model really is changing. It used to be, you look in the Diamondback dugout and see Phil Nevin, who was a great player here for a long time, but a player who represents a different era, the big power-hitting, pull-happy guy. Now guys are athletic. They play defense. They steal. They're aware of on-base percentage. They hit to the whole field. A 4-pitch walk for Spangenberg.
I think it's a realization on the part of general managers as well that, it's nice to score runs, but if you can keep the other team from scoring runs by playing solid defense, putting together a good pitching staff, that's just as effective as getting those big boppers in there who are one-dimensional players.
The idea of run prevention versus run creation. Here's Matt Kemp. 266 and 23 home runs, 3rd in the National League in RBIs, and still just 1 shy of his first 100 RBI season in 4 years. He's got 3 hits in the series, all singles. See if Godley can get that heavy sink going here and generate a double play ball. Spangenberg runs well at first. Chip Hale told us today when Jhoulys Chacin comes in, it will likely only be to begin an inning, not in the middle of an inning, so that Chacin can stay on a similar routine. And they do have an X number of innings in mind for Zach. That will only change if he has one particular inning in which he throws a ridiculous number of pitches and things get out of hand. But Chip said he has a lot of confidence that Chacin will go deep into the ball game today once they pull Godley early. 0-2 on Kemp. It's a pretty good idea. You can control the way you use Zach Godley. Don't worry about him getting up and down to the bullpen. And then you've got Chacin, who can probably give you 5 or 6 in relief.
I'm sure Zach Godley is hoping to do enough today in his shortened outing to really position himself for a spot in that rotation next year.
You have to think he'd certainly be among the leading contenders heading into spring training next year. They want Zach to pitch one more time this year, Chip said, likely out of the bullpen in the series against the Astros coming up next weekend. Kemp giving him a battle here. Always always concerned about the innings and the workload for Zach Godley. Remember, he threw only 55 innings all of last season, working only as a reliever in the Cubs system. He begins today's game, major leagues and minor leagues, at 133 innings, which puts him well over double the amount of innings he threw last year. But they feel confident, having been a starter before in his career, that he can handle it. Who's played first? Spangenberg back in time.
Now here's the numbers you were talking about, partner. 2013, 135 total innings. 108 of those came at the University of Tennessee before signing as a professional, and then pitched out of the bullpen, as you mentioned, in 2014, and really stretching it out this year back in the rotation.
And most of his appearances this year at Visalia Mobile and with the Diamondbacks have been starts. Not all, but most of them. He pitched at Tennessee 2 years ago and then followed that up by pitching rookie ball with Chicago that summer. So that's where you get the 135. Salty thought about a throw but drops it. And it's 2-2 on Matt Kemp. Kemp putting in a good at bat here. Godley already working. 8th pitch of the at bat coming up.
It's good to see the Padres have finally gone with the camo helmet as well. They usually just wear their blue helmets with the camo jerseys.
There's the double play ball potentially. It backs up Lamb, and sure enough, Aaron Hill does a beautiful job of turning two with Spangenberg coming down on him. A 5-4-3 gets Godley out of the inning, just what you were looking for. Jake Lamb, a great turn here by Aaron Hill. And we are through one in San Diego. The Diamondbacks and the Padres don't score. Petco Park, Steve Berthume, Bob Brenly, and Todd Walsh with you. No score as we start the second inning. BB, we are getting reports from Washington where the Phillies are beating the Nationals 12-4 in the ninth inning of a fight and a borderline brawl in the Nationals dugout involving Bryce Harper and Jonathan Papelbon.
Hey!
Apparently, one of them tackled the other, punches were thrown, and the two players, teammates, had to be separated in the Washington dugout. And we are getting the video of that. As soon as we have it, we'll pass it along to you. But a fight between Harper and Papelbon today in the Nationals dugout. It's been a difficult September, to say the least, for baseball fans and players, it would seem, at Nats Park.
I imagine that would be fairly split between fans. Jonathan Papelbon, not one of the most liked players in the game, and certainly Bryce Harper has his detractors as well.
Yasmani Tomas. Jankowski makes a diving grab and takes a base hit away. Tip of the cap, wag of the finger. Travis Jankowski, the rookie center fielder. Now Asmani jumped on the first one, lined it to right center, and there is the former first-round pick out of Stony Brook.
Boy, that's evidence of his defensive prowess out there in center field. Center fielders will tell you that's the toughest play, the sinking line drive that they have to come straight in on. That time Jankowski with a dive heading over toward the gap in right center, coming in toward the infield. Nice play.
One away for Jake Lamb. Jake at 271 with 6 homers. Jake did not get in the ball game yesterday against Robbie Erlin. 0 for 3 with a walk in Friday's series opener.
Take a look at our Valley Honda keys to the ball game today. Free the hostages.
What?
Diamondbacks offense has been held hostage by the San Diego pitching staff the last couple of days. Turn them loose, swing those bats, and let's eat tomorrow.
Oh, I know what that is.
Yeah, with a win you get pizza. 5 runs or more you get tacos. We're going home.
You'll finally be able to get to claim all your just desserts, as it were.
Yeah, if somebody goes deep, we'll get a jumbo jack. Yeah, it'll be a fast food fiesta.
Jake Lamb ahead, 3 balls and 1 strike. Shields so far 22 pitches, more balls than strikes. We've talked about the control. It's not been there for him lately. And sure enough, his second walk of the ball game, a 1-out base on balls for Jake Lamb. James Shields walked 4 in a win at Colorado in his previous start. That was a week ago today. And he's walked at least 4 in a ball game 5 times in his last 8 starts. Walking batters nearly twice as often as he did last year. Chris Owings, 235, 4 homers for CO. Back into the stretch for Shields. Ball 1. It's interesting, Bob, you were talking about being aggressive. Ender swung at the first pitch of the ball game for a base hit, but with Shields apparently struggling with his command, maybe a little more patience is in order here.
Be a little more selective. Nothing wrong with swinging at a first pitch, even against a guy that struggles with his command, as long as it's the pitch you're looking for.
Yeah, Tomas would have had a base hit on the first pitch if not for the great play by Jankowski. CO doubled last night. He is 4 for 22 on the road trip. One and 2. See, it's now 14-0 Cardinals and threatening more over the 49ers. One-two pitch is fouled away. You know what? Carson Palmer stays healthy, they're going to have a good year. Better than my fantasy team.
Not doing so good.
Well, it's doubly worse today because I'm losing badly to Leo Gilmartin.
Oh, no.
Leo and I are head-to-head this week, and it's not going well for me. Apparently Greg Olson, the Panthers tight end, is ready for the Hall of Fame. CO blasts it out to Upton and left. 2 down.
That's why I don't play fantasy football. I don't
Smart.
need anything else to ruin my Sunday.
Exactly.
I have enough other issues to deal with than to worry about some stiff all the way across the country that can't catch a pass.
Yep, I swear every year, never again. And then, sure, I'll do it. Here's the money. Why don't I just hand you all my money? All the fees we have to pay. Commissioner Candiotti keeps a tight rein. Chopped back to the mound. Shields has it. And he throws him out. Strands the one out walk. Bottom two coming up in San Diego. Sports Arizona is brought to you in part by your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Mix One, great taste, no face, available at local retailers. Our last day in San Diego this year. Bottom two at Petco Park. Steve Berthew, Bob Brenly, and Todd Walsh with you. And there's no score. We're set for the bottom of the second inning. Zach Godley is second inning of work. He'll work to Justin Upton, Brett Wallace, and Jed Jerkno. 4, 5, and 6 of the Padres second. Yeah, this might be our last look at Justin Upton in a Padre uniform.
I think Diamondbacks pitchers would like to see Justin Upton sign with an American League club.
I think that's a great call. 253, 26 home runs to lead the Padres. Upton had an RBI double last night, 1 for 7 in the series. He is set to hit the free agent market this winter. In the final year of that 6-year, $51 million deal he signed with the Diamondbacks. A.J. Preller, the new GM here, is actually just in the booth to our right. Says when they brought Upton in, they made the deal with eyes wide open, knowing this might be a long-term relationship, might end up as a one-year thing. They kind of just see how it goes here, but I don't think there was any doubt that Upton would test the waters, as it were, when he had the opportunity. But he says, in fact, he said the other day in the mighty 1090 he would be open to staying in San Diego, but the money will have to be there. And the way he's hit in this ballpark, they might want to think about keeping him. But Godley gets him to chase outside the zone there for his first strikeout.
Cutter up and away, well out of the strike zone that time. Completely fooled Justin Upton.
A walk and a strikeout and a double play ball so far for Zach. And here's Brett Wallace getting the start at first base, the former Sun Devil. Diamondbacks have the shift on the right-hand side. Jake Lamb right in front. Second base umpire Andy Fletcher. He hits over the head of Aaron Hill and into the right field corner. Inciarte over there to cut it off. He holds Wallace to a long single. Well, that's one way to beat the shift. Just hit a rocket right into it.
Find a gap in the shift. That time over the head of Yasmani Tomas. Too far to Aaron Hill's left to get to the spot. Rolls down in that corner, and another nice defensive play. That's one of those plays that doesn't really count for anything. You don't get an assist. You don't get a put out. But you held the runner at first base, keeping the double play in order on what appeared to be a sure double.
Ender Inciarte rated in terms of defensive runs saved as the second best outfielder in the major leagues, behind only Kevin Kiermaier in Tampa. Jerko drops that one into right field. Back-to-back one-out singles for the Padres.
Soft floater right off the end of the bat. Watch Aaron Hill at second base. Puts the glove out there trying to make Brett Wallace believe he was going to make the catch on that little soft liner, but clearly over his head. Wallace able to advance to second. Padres have him at first and second with one out.
For the catcher, Derek Norris. Norris 3 hits in the series, all singles. He's in there at 253 and 14 homers. Zach Godley had a one-out walk in the first, got a 5-4-3 double play ball. Let's see if he can roll one more right here. There's the strike, 1-1. That's in there. 1-2 on Derek Norris.
Big breaking ball that time from Zach Godley. Most of his pitches have very subtle movement. The two-seam sinker, the cut fastball, especially when he's working across the bottom of the strike zone. Just enough movement to get the ball off the barrel of the bat, but every now and then he'll roll that big curveball up there. Back-to-back that time. Tried to bounce one, see if he could get Norris to chase.
Two and two. That's out to left center field. Peralta in the gap, and he runs it down. The freight train in the outfield. Saved at least a run there. Takes extra bases away from Derek Norris. So that's the second out in the second. What a catch by David Peralta.
Boy, good closing speed. I mean, he is on a dead sprint into that gap in left center field. Really helps to know where your center fielder is positioned. You can see AJ's a little bit over into right center. David knows he's the only one that has a chance to make a play and runs it down. Nicely done.
He has come a long way defensively.
He seems to take better lines after balls in left field for whatever reason. In right, occasionally you'll see him run those snake patterns. More often than not, he makes the play anyhow, but as a left fielder, he seems to take better lines to the ball.
That was a big play in the ball game right there with two men on and one out. Two down now for the shortstop, Alexi Amarista. That one got behind Salty, swing and a miss by Amarista, and now the runners move up.
We saw Amarista chase breaking balls all night long against Jeremy Hellickson last night, so they go to it right away. Unfortunately, skitters under the glove of Jared Saltalamacchia all the way to the backstop.
Rule that a pass ball on Salty.
Oh, tough.
In the dirt. Now Wallace is at third, Jerko at second. First base open, the pitcher on deck, Shields. They'll walk Amarista. Most of Amarista's base hits this year have come against right-hand pitchers, so they won't mess around with first base opener, the pitcher coming up. Base is full, 2 down for Shields.
27 strikeouts in 80. Well, wait a minute. Wrong column. 27 strikeouts in 66 at bats this year for James Shields. He's a 121 hitter.
The career American leaguer. The Rays and the Royals. First pitch swinging, coming in the booth here. Nice catch by a guy right in front of us. Quick hands.
Numbers may not indicate it, but Shields looks like a hitter. Starts with that wide open stance and then closes up as he strides out toward the pitcher. Took a pretty good rip at that first delivery from Zach Godley, but the numbers would tell you otherwise.
He's got a ankle guard on there and everything. 2 batting gloves. Bases loaded, 2 outs, 1 and 2 on James Shields. Just inside. Wallace is at third. Jed Jerko at second. Amarista at first. 2-2 pitch. Got him. Zach Godley elevates. Shields chases. And he leaves him loaded. David Peralta, a tremendous defensive play. Chasing that one down in the gap with 2 runners on to keep it a scoreless ball game. Baseball is presented by Sanderson Ford. Set for the third inning here. Diamondbacks and Padres, final road game of the year in 2015. Steve Berthune, Bob Brentley, and Todd Walsh with you. And the top of the order set to lead it off for the D-backs. Ender Inciarte, Aaron Hill, and A.J. Pollock against James Big Game Shields. Looking at the video of the fight in the Nationals dugout. It's on all over social media if you have it. Bryce Harper and Jonathan Papelbon had to be separated in the Nationals dugout in their game against Philadelphia today, and it was a legitimate fight. Punches thrown, guys are tackled, had to be separated. And we'll get the video of that incident coming up shortly. One and one on Ender, who singled and stole a base in the first. Two and two. Ender hitting better than .320 on the road trip. 12 hits in 9 games through San Francisco, LA, and San Diego. And he's 1 for 1 so far today. Shields has already walked 2, and he's behind on Inciarte. Full count 3 and 2. Ender bangs it into right. Base hit for Inciarte. Ender 2 for 2. Leadoff man aboard in the third.
Stay hot, Ender. The walks are nice, but if you're a guy trying to sneak into the top 10 in the National League in hitting, you want to swing that bat. Ender 2 for 2 on the afternoon.
He is 4th in the National League in base hits in the second half of the year. Aaron Hill struck out looking on a pitch that was not a strike, his first time up.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Aaron's had a good finish to the year. Since the first week of August, he's hit about 300. They are just pounding him inside. 2 and 1. Goes away and gets the strike that time. 2 and 2. They have now changed, predictably, the passed ball call on Salty back in the bottom of the second inning to a wild pitch. So change that on your scorecard. Wallace to third, Jerko to second, bottom 2 on what is now a wild pitch, not a passed ball. Dave McKay coaching him up down there at first. That's in there for strike 3. He rings up Aaron Hill for the second time today. Went back inside and again got the call from Anthony Johnson.
Might have just nipped that corner with a cut fastball. I'm sure for Aaron it looked way off the plate inside, but that late cutting movement might have got it back to the corner.
A.J. Pollock. A.J. struck out his first time. A.J. 3 hits in the series, including his grand slam here Friday night, the first of his career. And Chip told us before the game today, A.J. will get a day off in the Colorado series. Not sure which one yet. Strike. AJ, even after the big night here Friday, really doesn't hit all that well in this ballpark. He's 4 for 24 at Petco this year. The career batting average in this ballpark is only .204. Into these right-hand Diamondback hitters. 2-1 now. No player in the National League has more hits since the All-Star break than A.J. Pollock. Discussion in the San Diego media, some of the articles over the weekend as they put a bow on this Padres season, that where the Padres made all these radical changes, brought in all these guys like Shields and Kimbrel and Upton and Will Myers, whoever else, Derek Norris. Some of it worked, some of it didn't, but a lot of the media here pointing to the Diamondbacks, saying, hey, look what the Diamondbacks are doing. They've got a very good, solid core of young players that they're developing on their own. They didn't have to go out and try and make all these radical changes. They're doing it what would seem to be the right way. The Padres people have noticed.
Well, you think about what the Padres did this offseason, it kind of reminds me of what the Cubs tried to do for years and years every offseason. Go out and sign some more free agents, put more Band-Aids on it. That'll fix it. And then eventually Theo Epstein came in there and said, wait, this needs to be torn down and rebuilt from the bottom up. And now the Cubs are looking for their first postseason in quite a while. And the Diamondbacks headed in that direction moving forward. That free agent market and the money that you have to invest.
Ender started creeping towards second before Shields delivered, and they got him hung up. Ender got a little happy feet and bit a little too soon. Watch the feet here. Shields still hasn't thrown the ball, and now it's too late.
Yeah, real fine line. Once again, Dave McKay probably has discerned something from James Shields' delivery and when to take off for second base and be sure that he's committed to home plate. That time Ender just got a little bit too happy over there at first base. Started too soon.
That's a caught stealing 1-3-4-1 on the putout. So Ender has stolen a base and been caught today. 2 down and a 2-2 count on A.J. Pollock. Some of the Padres free agent signings certainly worked. I mean, Shields is giving you a very typical James Shields here in terms of the workload. The ERA is right about where it's been for the career. Derek Norris has had a very nice year behind the plate, offensively and defensively. Upton gave you what you pretty much figured you'd get. Will Myers was hurt all year, but he's a guy around whom you can certainly build here moving forward. So, and Matt Kemp has had a very productive second half. It didn't work, but you know, all those guys have, well, you know, all right. Individually, the numbers are there. The collective somehow went wrong. That one misses inside, and it's a full count.
It's easy to look back at the end of a season and say, what if Matt Kemp had put up the same numbers in the first half as he did in the second half? What if Will Myers had been healthy all season long? The what ifs can drive you crazy and lead you to stand pat moving into next season.
Well, they probably need some pitching. Everybody does. And some bullpen. Called strike 3. AJ slams the bat at Anthony Johnson, and he will get an equipment violation there. And fortunately, he's still in the ball game. This is another one. Boy, Anthony Johnson, everything inside today has been a strike. Aaron Hill has been rung up on that pitch twice. And now he gets A.J. Pollock on that same location. Johnson staring at A.J., who's still barking as he walks out to center field. All right. To the Diamondback right-hand hitters has been a strike.
Yeah, this was Aaron Hill earlier in the ball game. We showed you on our Fox tracks clearly off the plate inside, and then that last pitch to A.J. Pollock, even a little farther inside, still gets a called strike. A.J. in frustration slammed down his bat and will be assessed an equipment fine by the home plate umpire. I think you got to fine the umpires when they miss. Maybe the strike zone would be a little better if they had to pay $500 every time they missed a call.
They are graded and scored and given assignments accordingly, but yeah, you make a good point. And Anthony sort of was standing behind the plate giving A.J. Pollock the Joe West stare, waiting for A.J. to turn around and say something. Ready to react. Travis Jankowski leads off the Padre third.
See, umpires are my fantasy football for you. I'm not going to let them ruin my day today.
Yeah, but see, you don't have a choice. I'm dumb enough to have a choice and still do it. That's the problem. Anthony Johnson has had very little experience on the plate at the major league level. He's a fill-in umpire. It's a fly ball out to Peralta. So we're talking about a handful, really, of big league plates for Anthony Johnson. The young guys, I'm told by people that watch these types of things, are not strike callers. We talked about how the strike zone has gotten lower and lower because that's where pitchers work so often these days. But the younger umpires, the ones that come up and fill in time to time, they are generally not strike callers. You really got to throw a strike to get that strike call, but that's not the case today with Anthony Johnson. Corey Spangenberg. A walk in his first plate appearance. to second, Aaron Hill. The ground ball for Zach Godley, quickly 2 outs. And this is right about the time where you would expect Yolis Chacin to start throwing in the Diamondback bullpen. Godley, and again, Chip Hale told us it will be innings, not so much pitches. But 3 might be the magic number. We'll see. And indeed, Yolis Chacin is just starting to get loose down there. Not really throwing, just playing catch at this point. It'll be a short outing today for Godley, and then they think, and Chip told us that he has confidence Chacin will go deep into the ballgame once he comes on in relief. Trying to keep Godley's innings down. Here's Matt Kemp. Kemp hit into a double play to end the first. Day off tomorrow. Thank goodness. And then the final homestand of the year, 3 against the Rockies and 3 against the Astros. Robbie Ray, Chase Anderson, and Patrick Corbin Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in the Colorado series. That will set Robbie Ray up to pitch that final game of the year Sunday against Houston. If it still matters for the Astros, it might be a do or die, make or break game for their season. So you want to have a pitcher that you trust in that ball game to make a good showing.
Well, that would be fun if it does come down to the final game of the regular season, and that game is highly important to the Houston Astros.
Every game this week will be, unless it gets wrapped up by then. Carlos Correa was their big hero yesterday. 0-2 to Kemp.
Houston with a 4-2 lead over the Rangers in the 9th inning. I guess that just went final. The Astros beat the Rangers today.
Houston trying to get back out in front in the AL West and hang on to that second American League wild card if they can't get the division. Right now they would play at Yankee Stadium in the wild card game. Twins and Angels right on their heels. David Freese hit a walk-off for the Angels yesterday. Anaheim's making a run here. American League wild card as such. Angels 1 back, Twins 1.5.
Angels, I just read the headline. I didn't read the whole story. Sounds like they may be without Houston Street.
Yeah, he had to be carried off the field last night, a groin injury. Tough time to lose your closer. 2-2.
Angels over the Mariners 2-1 in the 6th today.
Kemp has really given Godley fits. He had a long extended at bat back in the first before Godley finally got the 5-4-3 double play ball, and he's putting up another good fight right here. Zach right at 50 pitches, 30 strikes. 7th pitch of this at bat coming up. Yolis Chacin continues to get it cranked up in the Diamondback bullpen. They've got a lefty up there as well. And that's in the seats. Keith Hessler's joined Yolis Chacin warming up and quickly in the D-backs bullpen. I'm told we have video, if you haven't seen it yet, of the fight in the Nationals dugout between Bryce Harper and Jonathan Papelbon. And we'll have that for you in the top of the 4th inning, so stay tuned.
Oh, good. I will.
Good sell. Uncle.
Come on.
Glenn Hoffman. Well, that's pretty much the way he fielded in Boston. I'm sorry. He was a rookie shortstop, number 18 back in the day. 5-hole still pretty big, apparently. 2-2. One more time. Salty can't hang on. Matt Kemp getting his money's worth here today. 11th pitch of the at-bat coming up.
You talked about Glenn Hoffman down there at third base and ripped him for his playing days.
Well, I was just kidding.
He's
mostly.
in his 40th year in professional baseball, 17th as a major league coach, 10th here with the Padres as their third base coach.
Trevor's brother.
Yeah, I mean, it was, you make this West Coast swing, it was automatic. You were going to see Tim Flannery and you were going to see Glenn Hoffman coaching third base. Those two guys, two of the longer tenured third base coaches in all of baseball.
They'll likely have a new manager here in San Diego, so not sure what the coaching staff will look like. 3-2 to Kemp. Finally, Zach Godley wears him down and sprints off the mound. Scoreless through 3 in San Diego. The brawl in D.C. coming up next. The Nationals getting killed by the Phillies. Bryce Harper pops up, does not run it out. Look at Jonathan Papelbon, who had a horrible outing earlier in this ball game, getting on the National League MVP about not running out the pop-up, and watch Papelbon go for the chokehold right here. And they have to be separated in the Nationals dugout. Bryce Harper is going to win the National League MVP award, and Jonathan Papelbon is not. David Peralta crushes one deep to center, and there it goes. David Peralta, his 17th, and it's 1-0 Diamondbacks.
Free the hostages.
Must have been inspired by the video of the fight. Driving the bus to a 1-0 D-backs lead.
Speculated that perhaps the ball would carry well here today. We haven't seen anything hit particularly well until David Peralta touched that one off to center field.
Well, that's what James Shields does. Only 3 pitchers in the league have allowed more home runs. And Peralta gets his 17th. 1-0 on Salty. What's your take on, well, let's look at the home run first before we talk about it.
I like the home run a lot. Fastball away, stayed right on it. He knew he got a lot of it. Great effort out there by Jankowski. We've seen a lot of center fielders take away home run balls recently. Fortunately, that one hit far enough he couldn't get to it. I don't know Jonathan Papelbon well. I've met him a couple of times in passing, but the guy just can't seem to get along with anybody.
That was Peralta's first hit in the series. He did not have a good outing earlier in that ball game, so kind kind of scolding Bryce Harper there. It's a deep fly ball to right center by Salty. Jankowski tracks down. Here's one more look. Now, Bryce Harper, based on the numbers, is likely going to be the NL MVP. Now, yes, he didn't run out the pop-up, but this season has gone from disappointment to disaster in Washington. And this just personifies everything that's gone wrong in that dugout this year. The pieces have never gone together well. And Matt Williams is likely going to suffer for it, and maybe even Mike Rizzo. It just hasn't worked since day one.
Well, the last thing in the world, a guy who figures to win the National League Most Valuable Player Award and is in the lineup every day, healthy or not, the last thing in the world he wants to hear is from some closer that trots out there and gets 3 outs a couple days a week.
Exactly. Tomas tomahawks that one up and foul.
Sometimes he gets 3 outs.
So that, you talk about off seasons, it's going to be very interesting to see how they fix that, because it's a mess. It is an unmitigated disaster. And the Mets just celebrated the NL East title last night, or 2 nights ago.
I mean, that's where a prohibitive favorite.
Everybody was on
to win the World Series this year. It was almost a slam dunk. The only question was, who are they going to play against to get there?
It just shows you the futility of predictions. Impossible. It's one of the great things about baseball. Roller to shortstop, Amarista. Matt Williams in years past has had to bench Bryce Harper once or twice for that type of thing, not running something out, a ground ball or a pop-up. Don't recall anything happening this year, though.
I really don't have a problem with teammates policing teammates if you handle it in the right way. But obviously that was not done in the right way. They very nearly tumbled down the tunnel, which was just steps away. It would have been very easy just to go down the tunnel, have your disagreement, have a fight if you want to have a fight, but get out of the view of the cameras.
Well, it doesn't hurt Papelbon's, or doesn't help Papelbon's case to basically jump from the top step of the dugout down on and apply a chokehold to the guy who's likely going to win the MVP award.
Strategic error on Bryce Harper's part. Don't take the low ground in a fight.
It was like Papelbon was coming off the top rope. I mean, this is like Jimmy Superfly Snooker right here, off the turnbuckle, and applies the chokehold. What is to be gained by yelling at Bryce Harper when you're trailing 12-4, or whatever it was in the 9th inning of a lost season?
Frustration individually. I'm sure Papelbon wasn't happy the way he threw the ball today, giving up 5 runs, including a home run.
Ouch, big. Called strike 3. Shields rings up Jake Lamb, but David Peralta makes it 1-0 Diamondbacks on his 17th home run of the year. Marine Corps hymn in between innings. And that is stirring here at the ballpark. It is something to see on a Military Appreciation Sunday. David Peralta has given the Diamondbacks a 1-0 lead, and right on cue, that's the end of Zach Godley's brief start today as scheduled. And on to work the San Diego fourth is the right-hander Yolis Chacin, and they expect him to go deep into the ball game here. Hopefully get through the game with only 2 pitchers.
That would be an ideal situation for Chip Hale and Mike Harkey if Chacin can finish this one out from this point forward. We'll see how it goes. Certainly the arm strength, the pitch count, not an issue for Yolis Chacin.
Zach Godley went 3 innings, 56 pitches, 35 strikes as they try to really monitor and limit his workload. And that was basically the plan, Chip told us. It was going to be 3 and go for Godley. And now it's Chacin against Upton to start the fourth. Upton struck out his first time up. And Chip told us if and when they went to Chacin, it would be just like they've done it here at the beginning of an inning to keep him on his normal routine as a starter. Just kind of get loose out there and then warm up in the bullpen and come into the ball game at the start of an inning, do his thing. Try and keep things as normal as possible rather than coming in the middle of an inning. 2-1 pitch. 2-2.
Good slider from Chacin right here. Just off the plate away. Well, this has been a matchup that has heavily been in favor of the Diamondbacks. Justin Upton only 2 for 18 lifetime against Chacin with 10 strikeouts in those 18 at-bats.
Anthony Johnson's strike zone not as wide on the outside and as it is apparently on the inside. So it's a full count, 3-2. Chacin, a longtime Colorado Rocky. Their opening day starter, in fact, just 2 years ago. Oh, that's terrible. The guy right in front of us, right to him, easy play, barehanded. All he had to do was stand up. And
not only that, but he's going to have to listen to his buddy who caught one earlier in the ball game.
Yeah, right next to the guy.
That's a long ride home, pal.
Yeah, just going to have to wear that one. Here we go.
That's you.
For a second I thought about it, and then discretion being the better part of valor decided not to, and it hit right off my pencil sharpener.
It looked like a routine play, but then it started to sink as it got a little closer to the booth here. Wise choice.
I learned my lesson the hard way at Salt River. Tried to catch a Goldie liner off the hand and still have Bud Selig's signature in my palm. There's a foul tip. Right away, Upton making Chacin work. 9th pitch of the at-bat coming up.
I've told you this story before. When I was facing Don Robinson, who was pitching for the Pittsburgh Pirates at the time at Old Three River Stadium, after a 3-2 count, and I pulled 6, maybe 7 balls foul down the third baseline. And finally, Don Robinson just walked in from the pitcher's mound and said, "Hey, I ain't throwing nothing but fastballs. Put it in play, will you?"
Called strike 3. Anthony Johnson rings up Justin Upton. He's winning some fans and admirers in both dugouts here today. Let's see. Oh, that's a beautiful pitch.
Yeah.
Fox track says that's a strike. So does the plate umpire. I ain't gonna throw nothing else.
Ain't gonna throw nothing but fastballs. Put it in play, will you?
Now you were his teammate too at one point.
Later on, yeah. He came to the Giants in 1987. I think it was 87.
He was a big dude, Don Robinson, a very good pitcher on that '79 We Are Family World Series Pirate champion.
He was a tremendous athlete, pitcher by trade at the major league level, but his first 2 years as a professional in the minor leagues, they sent him to winter ball to play center field. Wow. He could swing the bat.
Fred Wallace. Jacine behind 3-0. Wallace singled in his first at bat. Usually in there as a pinch hitter, but he's getting a start at first base this afternoon. And it's a 4-pitch walk. Hey fans, now's the time. Tweet us your strongest fan photo. Use the hashtag AZDataStrongFan with the hashtag and the Twitter and the whole thing. And you might see your photo on a Diamondback broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Brings up Jed Jerko. Jerko singled in his first at bat today. A previous Padres front office, speaking about all their changes, they went all in on Jed Jerko during his rookie year. They gave him a 5-year, $35 million deal. So he signed here for pretty decent money through 2019. And that looked like it might be a disaster for a while, but he's kind of turned it around a bit this year, Jed Jerko. Actually, at one point earlier this summer, had to go down to the minor leagues. It got that bad. But he has pointed back in the right direction, hitting about 260 since the All-Star break with 13 homers.
Now, power numbers definitely up in the second half of the season. Was that about the same time they offered Chase Headley the long-term contract, and he kind of turned it down, said he was going to play out the rest of the season, see how things worked out, and then went straight in the tank.
That did not work. The ownership group said they wanted to make him the highest-paid player in Padre history. But he wanted to test the open market, did not have a great year, but he got decent money from the Yankees to stay there. Jerko, it's funny, you know, he's not making a ton of money right now. It's not become an albatross. The dollars don't get up to $9 million or $13 million a year until 2018 and 19, so there's still time for that contract to work out. And it looks like, based on his second half, that it might. But there was a time last year when he was really in the deep, dark pit of despair, and earlier this season where you thought, wow, that's going to be a bad contract. But he's had a good second half. And playing some shortstop too this month. He's in there at second base today. Two.
We were hoping Chacin could pitch deep into this ball game. He's going to have to be a little more economical with his pitches. The next delivery would be number 20. He's only got one out here in the inning.
And hold up, and Chacin has his second strikeout. 2 down.
We've seen this a lot lately. A pitch so bad it works out good. Letter high slider on the inside part of the plate. No pitcher in the world tries to throw their slider in that location, but he got away with it.
Derek Norris, the catcher, flied out his first time. Norris is another guy. He was always an offensive first catcher. He's had a good year back there defensively, too. How about those shadows?
Yeah, Jake Lamb, the only player on the field engulfed in the shadow of the light tower right now, probably feels pretty good in the shade. Warm afternoon here at Petco.
Not a whole lot of wind to speak of either. 2-0 on Norris.
Noticing a trend develop. A lot of foul balls coming this direction. A couple almost made it up here to the booth, and a lot of them right on line with the booth.
What are you saying?
Well, somebody needs to go get a glove.
Call Jose Mota. Jose does Angels TV, and he does the game wearing a glove. Their booth, for whatever reason, is juxtaposed so that they just get peppered with foul balls all the time in Anaheim. We're up here pretty high, too.
I saw that big old glove last night over there on top of the Padres dugout on the first base side. Start that guy at third base, that glove.
Red Wallace, the runner at first. 2 outs, 2-2 on Norris. Well, that was a major league cut. Had Norris swinging out of his shoes on that one.
Salty sets up away. The pitch strays back over the inside part of the plate, rattles off the side of Salty's mask that time before shooting over into the on deck circle.
Red Wallace down there with Jose Valentin coaching at first. And Chacin gets his third strikeout in the inning. He works around the 1-out walk. We are through 4 in San Diego. David Peralta with a solo homer. It's 1-0 Diamondbacks.
Ball, you're covering the bag and being a part of it, but the mental part of it more than anything, Todd, it's not knowing your opponent so much and knowing what the opposing pitcher is going to throw. It's having the ability to bring it 162 times a year.
Todd Welch back here in San Diego. 4-time Gold Glove winner Mark Grace. A conversation we had a couple of days ago earlier in this trip with all the talk about Paul Goldschmidt maybe hitting a bit of a wall physically and mentally after the All-Star break. Obviously with the day off today in conjunction with the off day tomorrow. He should be dialed in for that final homestand. But I just wanted to get Mark's take, Steve and Bob, on first base and the challenge of that position night after night after night through the course of the summer.
Chris Owings leads off the 5th against James Shields. I guess that's the beauty of baseball. There's always stuff to think about. You never do get a pitch off. There's always, all right, what's my responsibility here and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like a day game today, I'm sure at some point today we'll get a shot of an outfielder out there looking at his own shadow, practicing his swing between pitches. You can't do that in the infield or behind the plate. You're involved in every pitch. But the outfielders, they take the time between pitches to look at their shadow, take some ghost swings, talk to the fans out there in the stands. You don't have that luxury in the infield. I mean, you still have to bring it every day, but the amount of focus over the course of a ball game, over the course of a season, is lessened when you're standing farther away from home plate.
0-2 on Chris Owings, who flied out his first time up. Well, part of Goldie's season will be that quiet 6-week run from August 1st through the middle of September. That was a stretch of just about 40 games. And during that stretch, he hit .235. So the batting average for the season dropped from about .350 down to .315. And Chip told us last weekend that they are trying to figure out how to give Goldie more time off next season in the first half of the year, not at the tail end. So you don't have those August dips or early September stretches where it looks like he's pressing or tired or something like that, like we saw this year. He certainly worked his way out of it since. He's had a very good month. But as Chip said, physically, it's got to wear you down. 162 games. He plays almost every day. There's been a lot of discussions next year about where they can strategically get him days off physically.
I think that would be a wise move. I mean, you certainly appreciate anybody that wants to be in that lineup every day, feels that responsibility to the organization, the fans, and their teammates to be in there every day. But the reality is, it's going to take its toll over the course of a long season.
6 strikeouts for Shields.
You can pick those spots to give him a day off here or there to make sure that little mini slump stays a mini slump.
I mean, he had a sensational July and it was about .350 on August 1st, in fact, and then you can see the .243 August. The power has come back in September. We saw the 3 home runs in consecutive games in LA just on this trip. And Chip, one name that he threw out there, actually, I thought this was kind of interesting. He talked about Aaron Hill as a guy who might possibly get some work in spring training at first base next year, as the sort of go-to Goldie guy for when Goldie needs a day off. Get Aaron Hill some reps at first. But they'll sort all that out over the winter.
Yeah, we're seeing Tomas get a start over there today. We've seen Jake Lamb over there. Probably won't be able to use Jared Saltalamacchia as a first baseman as much as you might think if he's with the ball club next year, because you figure to only have 2 catchers on the roster next year, and that's a dangerous proposition to have both catchers in the lineup at the same time.
There's another one.
Right at us again.
And everybody wants to see Salty back next year. He has really been a good acquisition by the front office. And it's been interesting about how the catching position went from one of weakness and concern to one of strength over the course of the year, especially after Tuffy went down in St. Louis in May. Well, Chacin has worked the count full 3-2. Shields wins the battle. He has struck out 3 in a row. That's 7 in the ball game. James Shields got the 4-year, $75 million deal in February, and He's given you the typical James Shields year. We hear a lot about how all this didn't work in San Diego. Well, he is now into the 5th inning, so he's pitched 4 today. So that makes it now 9 consecutive seasons, counting this year, that he's made at least 31 starts and pitched 200 innings. So he has given you what you expect. And Inciarte, 2 for 2. It's a 4-year, $75 million contract. Club option for a 5th year. Shields will make $21 million over each of the next 3 seasons. There has been talk they might want to unload that money. Ender Inciarte gets a hold of one and drives it out of here. Ender Inciarte, that's number 5. He's 3 for 3, and it's 2-0 D-backs. Solo homers by Peralta and Inciarte, 2-0 D-backs.
Close to a no-doubter as Ender Inciarte will ever hit. Got a belt-high fastball out over the plate, elevated to right field. Goes back to the wall. Not sure why. That ball hit off the back wall out there.
Yeah, that's the old fence. There used to be a scoreboard on that. Almost twice as high as the new one that they built in front. That would have been off the wall here in the old ballpark. And as you said, a no-doubter, but it speaks to what we talked about earlier in the series when this ballpark first opened. That would have been a double for a frustrated Ryan Klesko or somebody like that. Instead, it's Inciarte's 5th of the year. Discussion immediately there with Turner Ward. That black background, that black wall, that was the old fence, and they built that seating area right in front as the new fence. It hit off the old wall. 1-1 on Aaron Hill, who was struck out twice. Holds that one. Fair ball headed for the left field corner. It's an easy double for Aaron Hill, his 16th this year.
Aaron Hill wasn't going to leave it up to Anthony Johnson to ruin his at-bat this time. He gets a pitch up there above the belt and just rips it down into that left field corner. Aaron had been called out on 2 pitches off the inside corner of the plate in his first 2 at-bats of the game. Just didn't want it to get to that this time.
So Shields opens up the inning with 2 strikeouts, but it's been an Inciarte homer, a Hill double. He's at second, 2 down for A.J. Pollock. A.J. has struck out twice today. Got rung up on a pitch that was clearly inside in his last at bat. A.J. hitting just over 360 on this road trip. 2 doubles, 2 homers, and 8 RBIs. And the grand slam here Friday. This was the previous at bat, called strike 3. That ended the 3rd inning. Yes, he wins, says Jordan Baker. A ball and 2 strikes. Shields now at 80 pitches, 48 strikes.
Well, AJ's had stare downs with the home plate umpire and the first base umpire so far in the ball game.
He's winning him over. 2-2. Shields looked like he wanted that one. The Cardinals are whipping up on the 49ers. 31-7 right now, early 3rd. A lot of depressed Chargers fans around here this morning. They got their clocks cleaned in Minnesota. Didn't get the inside strike call that time, Shields, and it's a full count, 3-2. Ball 4. Third walk of the ball game issued by Shields. 3 straight have reached with 2 outs for the Diamondbacks. And here's Peralta with 2 on and 2 out. He homered to lead off the 4th in his last at bat. His 17th of the year, a solo shot. First pitch swinging, listed in the air, left center field, Travis Jankowski. Diamondbacks strand 2, but they get 1 more. Ender Inciarte gets a hanger from Shields and takes it deep, his 5th of the year, and it's 2-0 D-backs.
Todd Walsh back here in San Diego. Stephen Bob, if I could chase your conversation for just a second about him. He was hanging out at the Diamondbacks Live pregame set. I use that word loosely, by the way.
There's a set?
Yeah. It's a chair.
You mean the folding chair?
I had 2 today.
Oh, nice. Yeah. All right.
1 for my socks that were sweating all by themselves. I just made a point of actually going up to him because I really enjoyed watching him go about his business, being new to this team in midstream. Told him I just thought he sort of took over this team in so many ways as a leader. And you know what? He said, look, I love it here, but at this point in my career, at my age, I still want a shot at being an everyday starting catcher.
Ah, well, see, we talked about that.
Yeah, he actually said that earlier today. But I want to go back to, Bob, I'm sure you've seen this. This is a guy that's found his way to sort of the top of the food chain in that clubhouse. That's not an easy thing to do. I thought he handled it very well, being that guy.
Well, and that's not something you really pursue.
No.
You either are a leader or you're not a leader. And Jared Saltalamacchia, from his history in this game behind the plate, working with so many different pitching coaches and bullpen coaches and catching instructors, not to mention pitchers on his own staff, there's a lot of knowledge there that he's garnered over the years that he uses to his advantage.
Yasmani Tomas, a nice backhand stop at first. Very nicely done there by Yasmani. Getting the start at first base today on an off day for Goldie. Makes a nice backhand play for the first out.
Perfect feed, too. Puts it out in front of Chacin, leading him right to the base.
Well, Salty, I think, Todd, he's really done a great job settling in here because he went through a lot, arrived at Reno in May after the Marlins let him go, and It took him a bit, but he's since the All-Star break, he's hit about 270. He's got 7 homers in the second half of the year. I think you're dead on about him being a leader in that clubhouse. It's been a tremendous fit, but somebody out there is watching who might need a long-term catcher, at least a guy in terms of contract. You're talking about that extra year. So you might be tough to hold on to. Then you go around the league. All right, now who might need a catcher? Start to do the math. James Shields blasts that one to left center. And it rolls to the wall. Shields, who struck out at his first at bat, looked pretty hitterish that time. Certainly does here. It's a 1-out double.
Pitch up there around the letters. Even pitchers will get the barrel on those balls. Right toward that gap in left center field. AJ playing way around to right center, not anticipating Shields pulling the ball, and split that gap in left center for a double.
He's at second for the leadoff man, Travis Jankowski, who's 0 for 2. That into right center. That'll score Shields. Jankowski can fly. It rolls to the wall, and he's going to get 3 here. They're going to wave him home. But Glenn Hoffman changed his mind. AJ had problems picking the ball up on the warning track. Glenn Hoffman started waving Jankowski in all the way, but then suddenly put on the brakes.
Gappers here to start the rally for the Padres. You see Jankowski, man, does he cut corners tight. Shortest distance is a straight line, and he wasn't far off a straight line, as you see slamming on the brakes there at third base. Glenn Hoffman brought him around the bag and then threw up the stop sign once that relay throw was on its way back into the infield.
Boy, he is a very fast base runner, Travis Jankowski. His second triple this year, his second hit in the series. It's an RBI triple and now a 2-1 ball game. He's the tying run at third, 1 out for Spangenberg. Infield quickly comes in for the Diamondbacks. And there's strike 1. That same thing, Bob, that you picked up on, where they start the infield back, and then as the first pitch is being delivered, everybody runs in.
That's been a Tony La Russa's signature defensive play from his days as a manager. And the idea being the third base coach comes over to the runner at third, takes a look at the defense in the infield, and says, okay, if they hit it at the corners, hold your ground. If they hit it up the middle, go ahead and try to score. And then as the pitch is being delivered, those 2 middle infielders crash in, even with the grass as well.
Base hit, tie ball game. RBI for Spangenberg makes it 2-2. Well, we talked about Corey Spangenberg. He has been a pain in the neck. A .310 career hitter against the Diamondbacks coming into today. He's got a walk and an RBI single. Another hanger from Chacin.
Yeah, close to .380 this season. Yeah, got to get the ball down. Made 3 mistakes up in the zone. All 3 of them got hit hard.
Well, 3 hard hit balls. James Shields the double, Jankowski the triple. Spangenberg delivers him with an RBI single. 2-2 game, and it's Matt Kemp. Kemp has hit into a double play and struck out. He's 0 for 2. 3 hits in the series, all singles. Bullpen is quickly busy for the Diamondbacks. Tomas gets a little tangled up with Spangenberg down there. Yeah, working at a feverish pace in the Diamondback bullpen. Looks like Bracho and Hessler. Keith Hessler, the lefty. Silvino Bracho, the right-hander. So Bracho worked 2/3 of an inning with a strikeout last night. Matt Kemp, 39 RBIs in his last 39 games. You go back to the middle of August, he's hit .295 over that span with 12 home runs. A very productive bat here over the last 6 weeks of the year.
Everything up, up, up.
Yeah. Ball, center field. Pollock at the track. He's got room just shy of the wall out there. Allowed out number 2. Spangenberg was standing on second base when A.J. caught the baseball, so he'll scamper back to first. Kemp gave it a ride. A little too much ballpark. Justin Upton now. Upton has struck out twice. 1 for 9 in the series. Had an RBI double last night. Justin Upton, 5 home runs, 11 RBIs in 17 games against the Diamondbacks this year. He was an all-star this season for the 3rd time in his career. Right on Aaron Hill, and they get out of the inning. But the Padres get 2 through 5. We're all tied up. Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you in part by Phoenix International Raceway. Join PIR on November 15th for NASCAR. Visit us at phoenixraceway.com and get your tickets now. And by Arizona Restaurant Week. Go tasting with your buds during Arizona Restaurant Week, September 18th through the 27th. Visit ArizonaRestaurantWeek.com for all the details. My soul is an enchanted boat, which like a sleeping swan doth float upon the silver waves of thy sweet singing. Oh, that's a little Shelley for you. It's a tough gig here in San Diego. Somebody's going to do it. Salty leads off the sixth. A roller up the middle, a base hit. Jared Saltalamacchia 1 for 3, leadoff single. Now, a lot of teams. This is the final road trip of the year for the Diamondbacks. A lot of teams making their final road trips. Some are going out to finish up the week on the road. This is the Boston Red Sox rookie hazing photo, and there's a Brenly in there somewhere.
He's the one on his knees in the front. I believe he's supposed to be Jesus, not quite sure. I don't really recognize a lot of guys. That's Blake Swihart on the far left riding on the back of the Gorilla, and Mookie Betts in the yellow taxi outfit. Not sure who the rest of those guys are, but they're on their way to the Big Apple dress like that.
Well, they'll fit right in. Yes, Manny Tomas.
Nobody will even notice.
Hard to short. Amarista. Jerko. They roll it. Now, Michael's had certainly an eventful weekend. This was in the bullpen on the Mookie Betts catch the other night. There's Michael Brenly coming into your picture right there.
Well, he knows where the camera's going to be.
Runs in the family.
And that's that same cop in the background. He became famous for a little while there.
And that famous Boston Globe photo. Mookie Betts, former Arizona Fall Leaguer, hanging on.
What an athlete he is.
It's funny, he played second base all throughout the Fall League. Came up as an infielder, and they made him a really good center fielder. Jake Lamb has walked and struck out.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations. We got one leg of the fast food trifecta, 2 homers in the ball game. Jumbo Jack.
Just need 3 more runs. Will he eat well tomorrow? Jake Lamb knocks it into left, a base hit. 2-out single.
Nice piece of hitting right there when they got that exaggerated pull shift. Not quite as bad as you see for some lefties, but they were giving him a big hole on that left side of the infield. If you see a pitch up and out over the plate, just hit it the other way. Seems so easy.
Here's Chris Owings, CO 0 for 2. Nick Vincent, the right-hander, set to go in the Padre bullpen. James Shields now over 90 pitches.
Brito would hit for the pitcher spot should we get down there.
The Socratic method. There goes the runner. Lamb takes off. CO strikes out. That's the end of the inning. We are tied at 2 in San Diego. Saturday, when the Diamondbacks host the Astros, first 10,000 fans with us at Chase Field will get this Los D-backs soccer jersey courtesy of Pepsi. For tickets, visit dbacks.com. We've said it all weekend. That's going to be a fun series. Great way to end the season. A playoff-like atmosphere. Astros won again today, and that could be the biggest series of their season. So come on down to Chase Field, dbacks.com/tickets, and send out 2015. Elise Chacin back out there. Brett Wallace leads it off for the Padres. Shift is on for the Diamondbacks. Wallace has singled and walked 1 for 1. Belted. Aaron Hill is out there in short right. Last time Wallace hit almost the exact same ball over Aaron's head out there. That time he hit it right to him. So chalk one up for Dr. Ed Lewis and Andy Green.
Yeah, this ball was actually struck better than the last one. A one hopper chasing Aaron a little bit to his right. The other one was kind of a humpback liner off the handle of the bat that dropped in out there in right field. But that time Aaron right on the spot.
Well, that is a hard, clean single. At least it's supposed to be anyway. Now it's just a 4-3 putout. One away for Jerko, who has singled and struck out. Jed Jerko, pride of Morgantown, West Virginia, played college ball at WVU. Second round pick by the Padres 5 years ago. John Crux, another great baseball player who came out of West Virginia.
I guess I didn't realize that about Crux.
Oh, yeah, he's big time West Virginia. That is rolled foul. Hey, fans, as promised, it's time for our Data Strong fan photo. Tweeting your strongest fan photo with a hashtag on the Twitter AZDataStrongFan for your chance to be featured in a Diamondback TV broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. And today's fan photo is Kyle at the zoo. Kyle is either up on a ledge or he's really tall. Actually, Todd Walsh and I stood on that very site feeding giraffes a couple of years ago for a piece we did for the Cactus League Weekly Show. You can go right there. They put you up on this platform. The giraffes walk up to you. You can hand feed the giraffes.
Kind of tap danced around the no varmint rule there, since that's an exotic animal. We'll give you credit for that one.
Ed Jerko gets it up in the air toward the left field corner, and it's drifting foul.
It sounded like he broke his bat on that one. Fans got a little excited when they saw the arc of that ball, but it clearly hooked into foul territory, and Jerko broke his bat, so it didn't carry as far as everybody thought it was going to.
D-backs bullpen is quiet now. At least you've seen hopefully settling down a bit after giving up 3 straight hits in the 5th inning. RBIs for Jankowski and Spangenberg to tie the ball game. 2-2. Tell you what, we've had about a series worth of foul balls here so far today.
I was just thinking the same thing. I mean, I kind of joked about it earlier. A lot of them have come up here in our direction, but we've seen a boatload of foul balls in this game. Maybe hitter's a little tardy today, pitcher's a little overamped. Not quite sure the reason, but we've seen a bunch of them.
Full count, 3-2. Pitch number 10 in this at bat, all the way to Jed Jerko. On the ground to Aaron Hill. Backhand stop, throws across his body, and Tomas keeps his foot on the bag. Nice play there by the Diamondback infield. What, Yasmani's look good down there today.
Look good. Ranges way up the middle of the field, throws in motion. Long stretch that time by Yasmani, able to keep his foot on the bag, and his pitcher appreciates it.
A couple of unconventional 4-3 putouts in this inning. 2 down now for the catcher Derek Norris, who's 0 for 2. Boy, the Cardinals are killing the 49ers. 40-7 late 3rd now, and bidding for more. That's a shame. Nothing better than a humbled 49er fan. There'll be some good football news this weekend back home in the Valley after a rough Saturday. 1-1. Norris home plate now. That shadow from the light tower and all over home plate. Mound is in bright sunlight. Norris just kind of waved at that one.
Yeah, this might even be worse than a steady shadow. It's the shadow of the light tower out there in front of home plate, and it's kind of speckled, so the ball will flash in and out of the shadows and into the sunlight.
Like it's not hard enough.
Yeah.
You can't even see Salty back there. The shadow knows. Norris has got the camouflage on, but it's Salty that you can't see.
That's That's one thing you'll see a lot of in the upcoming postseason because of the start time of the games. A lot of those games are going to start at absolutely the worst visibility time of day.
Yeah, case in point right there. Chacin gets the strikeout, has a nice bounce back 6th inning. He works a 1-2-3 inning. 7th inning on the way. Series and road trip finale. We are all tied at 2. Over baseball at FS1, your home for postseason action, the American League Division and Championship Series. Don't miss a moment of the drama and the history. It all begins October 8th. The ALDS and ALCS on FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Open waters of San Diego here. D-backs and Padres tied up 2-2 as we start the 7th. And the pitcher spot will lead it off against James Shields, who's back out there for San Diego. And Socrates Brito in the shadows there will hit for Yolis Chacin. So Godley went 3. Chacin goes 3. Brito hits for the pitcher to lead off the 7th. At least I think that's him back there. It's hard to tell with the shadow. Three for 11 to begin his major league career. Andrew Chafin has started throwing in the Diamondback bullpen.
I've been watching James Shields today, and occasionally he'll have a little David Peralta moment out there on the mound.
Which is?
As he's standing there waiting to get the sign from Derek Norris, he'll kind of lean way back. Not quite as exaggerated that time.
I guess he can't kiss the palm of his hand like David does. Umpire might have a problem with that.
Spinning around out there on the mound, keeps looking down at the landing hole and the hole in front of the rubber after every delivery here.
Nick Vincent continues to warm up in the Padre bullpen, the right-hander. So he can get Brito with his speed on to lead off the inning. Broken bat just shattered in half, but it drops over the head of Amarista into left center, a base hit for Brito. His 4th major league hit, leadoff man aboard. Just what you're looking for. Take a look at our State Farm report of the ball game. We head to Visalia, the Rawhide, where J.R. House was named the manager of the year in the Cal League. Roll Hyde, another good year for Visalia. So Brito aboard, 2-2 ball game of the 7th. Shields about to throw his 100th pitch. Last time he hung one to Ender Inciarte, and Ender took him deep for his 5th home run this year. He's 3 for 3. Spangenberg in on the grass at 3rd. 0-1 to Inciarte. Frito holds it first. Ender gives another one a ride. That is over the head of Kemp in right field, and it's gone. A home run. Ender Inciarte, his 6th of the year, his 2nd today, and it's 4-2 D-backs.
Doesn't just want to make the top 10 in the National League in hitting. He wants to lead the league in hitting. 4 for 4. 2nd home run of the game for Ender Inciarte.
Let's make this our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game. Got a hanging slider there, curveball, and knocked it over the new fence out there. 4-2 D-backs. Ender 4 for 4 with 2 home runs. Aaron Hill doubled his last time up.
About that. Tie ball game. The Padres were expecting a bunt from Ender Inciarte. Spangenberg was drawn way in at 3rd base. Wallace charging hard from first after the pitch was delivered, and Ender hit it over everybody.
His first career multi-homer game. Ender Inciarte, all smiles. 2 singles, a stolen base, couple of home runs. Not a bad day. He's got 3 RBIs. He's scored twice. Going to stay fair for Shields. He throws out Aaron Hill. Ender in 10 games on this road trip, 16 hits. Had a triple last night, 2 homers here today. 1 out for A.J. Pollock now. A.J. has struck out twice and walked. Told you, James Shields very susceptible to the long ball. Only 3 pitchers in the National League had allowed more home runs coming into the ball game, and he's given up 3. 2 by Inciarte, 1 by David Peralta. Now leads the league, even with Kyle Kendrick, Ruby De La Rosa 2 behind.
Sure Pat Murphy would like to get Shields through this inning if at all possible. The pitcher spot due up 2nd in the bottom half of the 7th inning for the Padres.
Well, now he issues his 4th walk in the ball game. He has now walked at least 6 times in his last 9 starts, and he looks like he's on empty right now. Derek Norris going to have a word. Here comes Pat Murphy. Padres bullpen is busy. A couple of right-handers throwing down there. He's had Nick Vincent up for a while. Sean Kelly has joined him. And it'll be Vincent. It's 4-2 Diamondbacks in the 7th, back from San Diego right after this. I was watching this ball game today, and Zach Godley put up 3 scoreless innings. At least Chacin came on in relief. All the offense has been provided at the top of the order. Ender Inciarte 4 for 4, including 2 home runs. Ender's first career multi-homer game. David Peralta has a solo shot as well, and it's 4-2 Diamondbacks as Nick Vincent comes on to relieve James Shields.
24th appearance of the season for Nick Vincent. And talked about the bottom of the order. That's become a recurring problem again. We saw it a lot very early in the season, where it seemed like if the Diamondbacks didn't score the first 4 hitters of a game or an inning, the guys at the bottom just weren't getting it done, and we've seen it again here recently, the guys at the bottom struggling to get on base.
Tomas 0 for 3. He's hit into a double play. Jake Lamb has walked and singled. CO 0 for 3. A.J. Pollock batting third has struck out twice and walked twice. He's at first. Still just 1 out in the inning, and here's David Peralta. He has walked and homered. There goes A.J.
Too bad. Boy, what a great jump he had again. We talked about this many times. The left-handed hitter has no knowledge that that guy has broken for second base. His back is turned to the runner and didn't see the kind of jump that A.J. Pollock had.
Waves at a high one, down 0-2. Andrew Chafin continues throwing in the Diamondback bullpen. Looks like he'll get the bottom of the 7th here. Socrates Brito began this inning by hitting in the pitcher's spot. A leadoff single came in on the Inciarte homer, and it's 4-2. Ender's second home run today. AJ takes off again. The throw from Norris is not in time. It's offline. A.J. Pollock, that stolen base number 37. He's got 37 doubles and 37 steals this year.
40-40 has a nice ring to it.
Sure does.
Same huge jump he had on the first delivery to David Peralta when David fouled it out of play to the third base side. This time, A.J. steals it with ease.
It's not easy to do on Derek Norris either. He has had a tremendous season throwing out attempted base stealers back there for the Padres. He's thrown out 38 this year. In fact, Norris, that 38 is a career high. It's also the most by any National League catcher since Paul LaDuca in 2003.
That's a lot of guys caught stealing. However, they're in the mid to upper 80s in stolen bases. There's just been a lot of attempts against the Padres this year, and Derek Norris has caught his fair share.
Shift is on. Amaris to the shortstop from the first base side of second. Throws him out. Pollock moves to third with 2 outs. That's a 6-3 putter right there on Peralta. Brings up Slovakia. Salty singled his last time up. He's 1 for 3. Smells like tacos.
What a 99 hopper through that left side.
All kinds of room over there as the overshift on the right. That one misses inside. 1-0. Look at shortstop. Nobody home. Amarista right next to second base umpire Andy Fletcher. Spangenberg near the bag at third. Now he'll back off a bit. This is away, 2-0. Nick Vincent's got the old school stirrups going. Looks like the Johnny Unitas high tops, mid tops. The brown stirrups. At least the Padres are finally wearing some kind of brown. 3-0. AJ at third with 2 outs. That's a 3-0 strike if ever there was one. Two. Salty's had a very good September. He's hit about .310 this month. Tomas on deck. He would be next. Andy Green down there with AJ Pollock at third. 3-2, 2 outs.
AJ can get a pretty sizable lead down there at third with Spangenberg playing as far off the line as he is. And deep.
He's almost back in left field. Ball 4. Second walk in the inning issued by Padre pitchers. And Tomas will get a shot with runners in the corners and 2 outs.
Just as a footnote on the Jared Saltalamacchia conversation, that's another thing he brings to the team that the Diamondbacks could probably use a few more of. Guys that'll work counts, take pitches, take the base on balls if you don't get anything to hit. He's shown an amazing ability to grind out those at bats. You got Osmani Tomas, Chris Owings, a few guys in this lineup that are very aggressive and rarely see more than 2 or 3 pitches in an at bat. And then you counter that with a guy like Jared Saltalamacchia.
Tomas dunks it into right, but Matt Kemp makes the sliding grab. That almost dropped in there in front of Kemp, but he hangs on and takes away tacos. We are going to stay right here. It's Military Appreciation Sunday at Petco Park. And we had a stirring rendition of the Marine Corps hymn earlier in the ballgame. The Padres do a phenomenal job honoring our servicemen and women here every Sunday at Petco Park. And let's keep it right here for God Bless America in San Diego, California.
It's time for the 7th inning stretch. Before we sing Take Me Out to the Ballgame here on Military Sunday, please stand and welcome 15-year-old Taylor de Guzman, who comes from a military family where 6 members have served over 3 generations. Please sing along as she presents God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
day in Major League Baseball history, September 27th, 2011. We weren't here for this, partner, but this will forever be known as the Ryan Roberts game. Diamondbacks gave up 5 runs in the top of the 10th, but then scored 6 in the bottom of the inning to beat the Dodgers 7-6. Ryan Roberts with the decisive walk-off grand slam with 2 outs in the 10th.
The Tat Man.
Yeah.
Ryan Roberts, sure. Aaron Hill. Well, it's your favorite pitching change, BB, as we start the home half of the 7th. Diamondbacks lead the Padres 4-2. Chacin out, Chafin in.
That's perfect.
Just change 1 letter. And with a left-hander in here, Pat Murphy will empty the bench. Alexi Amarista and the pitcher spot due up here to lead off the inning, 8 and 9. Will Myers is going to come in and hit for Amarista. And Melvin Upton Jr. is in the on-deck circle. He will hit for Vincent, the pitcher. So it'll be Myers, Melvin Upton, and Travis Jankowski, 8, 9, and 1 in the San Diego 7th. Myers 1 for 7 in the series with a pair of strikeouts. He had an RBI single on Friday. He's in there at 259 with 8 home runs. This is another guy that's been a pain in the neck this year for the Diamondbacks. He's hit over 330 versus the D-backs this year. 7 doubles and 2 homers. Randall Delgado has started throwing the Diamondback bullpen. 2-1. Boy, Chafin just pounding Myers inside with those fastballs to get back even 2-2.
Shorten that swing a little bit, make him pull his hands in close to the body. We know Will Myers has good opposite field power. We saw that at Chase Field.
Full count, 3-2. Hit a home run against Jeremy Hellickson to lead off a ball game in the last series at Chase Field earlier this month.
Got the fingers taped up today.
Looks like a catcher. Chafin loses him, leadoff walk. Now Melvin Upton Jr. being announced as the pinch hitter. And with Pat Murphy, you've always got to wonder what's going to go on when he brings a guy off the bench to pinch hit. There was some antics here Friday. That just came up over the weekend. Melvin Upton, 243 and 5 homers. Struck out as a pinch hitter last night. There's Dave Roberts, the bench coach, and Pat Murphy, the interim manager here. You might recall during the 6th inning Friday, Murphy sent Alex Dickerson out to pinch hit, but Dickerson never got to bat because he had something in his eye. The trainer came out to check on him. They walked him off the field, took him to the dugout, and then signaled that Dickerson would not be able to pinch hit after all, so Brett Wallace went up instead. Well, yesterday, Pat Murphy told reporters that Dickerson, a left-hand hitter, was put out there in the on-deck circle to try and get the Diamondbacks to go to a left-handed reliever. It was, in effect, a decoy, and Murphy admitted the whole thing with the eye injury was basically faked. Staged.
College hijinks.
An elaborate show. They made the whole thing up, which seems, to put it politely, silly and unnecessary.
Yeah.
If you want to burn the guy, it's September. You got 50 guys down there. Burn Dickerson. But don't go through this whole thing. He's got something in his eye for silly amateurish reasons. So,
and to take it a step further, don't admit that you did it the next day.
That was it was odd. Put out there by Dennis Lynn of the Union Tribune here in San Diego. Not what you'd usually see from a major league manager. 2-2 on Melvin Upton Jr. Chafin lost Myers, and he's gone full on Upton. Back-to-back 3-2 counts for Andrew. Two-run lead. Chafin comes in and walks the first two he faces. And the tying runs are aboard with no outs.
Well, that'll make you scratch your head.
Andrew Chafin has worked a lot. Here comes Mike Harkey, and he's had some rough outings lately. You get the idea, and they did send him down to the minors, remember. He was briefly at Reno just essentially to get some rest. And he still looks fatigued out there. It looks like it's been a long year for Andrew. He's got a lot of big outs for the Diamondbacks. He's been a tremendous pitcher back there. But his tank might be on empty here this year. It's hard to walk Melvin Upton Jr.
Yeah.
So first and second, nobody out for Travis Jankowski, the rookie center fielder, who had an RBI triple and scored a run his last time up. He's 1 for 3.
Yeah, be heads up for Jankowski trying to bunt here. Sometimes lefty on lefty, especially if the potential tying run is on base, you might see Jankowski try to bunt on his own.
Jake Lamb kitty cornered at third on the shadow there. Tomas in at first in front of the runner Upton. And he does indeed bunt it foul third base side. Delgado still throwing in the Diamondback bullpen.
You would assume Andrew Chafin will get Jankowski and then Spangenberg after him, both left-handed hitters, but then you've got Kemp and Upton. I'm sure that's why Randall Delgado is getting ready in that bullpen.
Oh, 0-1. Pops up the bunt attempt there, and it's 0-2. Travis Jankowski called up to the big leagues for the first time back in the middle of August. Rookie center fielder up in a big spot right here. Down 2 in the 7th. Here's the 0-2. All right, one more time to get the bunt down, and does. Chafin has one play. Jankowski moves the runners along. Tying runs in scoring position for the Padres with 1 out, and the heart of the order coming up.
Pretty nice job by the Padres center fielder that time. Didn't try to put it down either line, just bunted it right back to the middle of the field. Chafin only has the play at first base for the out.
So Myers in at third, Upton at second. 1 out for Corey Spangenberg. Figures to be the last hitter Chafin will get. Delgado up and ready in the bullpen. The righties Kemp and Upton coming up. He shows bunt and takes a strike. He offered at it, says Anthony Johnson back there.
You see that more often, lefty on lefty. A lot of times it's a tough matchup for the hitter. Figures to catch the defense by surprise, trying to bunt for a base hit right there with runners at second and third.
Oh, 0-2. Spangenberg has walked. He's got an RBI single, 1 for 2 today. Had 3 hits last night, including a pair of doubles. Weaves at that one. A big out, number 2 right there for Andrew Chafin.
Big sweeping breaking ball this time from Andrew. Leads him right out of the strike zone, low and away. Nice pitch.
And Chip Hale has already signaled for Randall Delgado. You've got first base open. Matt Kemp coming up with 2 outs. Justin Upton behind him. Don't go anywhere. 4-2 in the 7th. On to a 4-2 lead. Padres have 2 on. First base is open. The hitter is Matt Kemp. Justin Upton is on deck. Randall Delgado, the new pitcher. Upton has twice this year taken Delgado deep. So the point is, Kemp is the guy you want to get here.
Yeah, end the inning right here with Matt Kemp. Make good pitches on this guy. Don't worry about Upton until next inning.
You've got Will Myers, the runner, at third. Melvin Upton Jr. at second. They are the tying runs in scoring position with 2 down for Randall Delgado. Lurking in the shadows here in a big spot in the 7th. Matt Kemp today 0 for 3. 3 hits in the series, all singles. He is 1 RBI shy of 100 RBIs. It would be his first 100 RBI season in 4 years. Numbers on Randall, his 60th appearance of the season, a 3.33 ERA. Two 2-0. You fall too far behind on Kemp, you might have to face Upton. Well, that would put the go-ahead run on base. There's the strike. Both the pitcher's mound and the entire home plate area in shadow from the light towers. A little patch of sunlight in between.
Normally a hitter has about 3/10 of a second to identify a pitch and decide whether he wants to swing at it or not. That is cut down even more now with the visibility issues.
That is a fair ball. Jake Lamb charges and throws him out. A nice play by Jake Lamb, and Randall Delgado gets Matt Kemp and puts out the fire as the Padres strand 2. Jake Lamb at third had to come way in from his spot. He gets Kemp and keeps it a 4-2 D-backs lead. Diamondbacks lead the Padres 4-2, set for the 8th inning. Fans, the most popular way to follow the action of the Diamondbacks is with MLB.com at bat. It's the #1 app for live baseball. You'll enjoy live look-ins, replay reviews, scores, StatCast, highlights, live radio broadcasts, and a whole lot more. Get the MLB.com at bat app right now. The right-hander Sean Kelly, the new pitcher for the Padres, here in the 8th.
Solid numbers for Sean Kelly this season. 47 1/3 innings pitched, 58 strikeouts. He's held the opposition to a .230 batting average.
Alexi Amarista was pinch hit 4. So Clint Barmas comes in and he'll take over at shortstop. Clint Barmas. And Barmas will bat 9th. Pitcher spot now 8th in the Padre order. It was before. Jake Lamb leads it off. Jake made that terrific defensive play coming in from 3rd to win the bottom of the 7th and keep it a 4-2 D-backs lead. In the left field corner. Left it up and in the shadows. 1 down. One away for Kelly. Here's Chris Owings. COO for 3, has struck out twice. CO 4 for 25 on the road trip. One and one. Pitcher spot up next for the D-backs. Phil Gosselin out in the on-deck circle. He did not go, says Jordan Baker. It's 2-1. Chases a pitch up, 2-2. CO opened up September riding a 5-game hitting streak, but since that streak ended earlier this month, he's hit about 165 over his last 19 games. And he chases a bad one there, strikes out for the 3rd time today. He's 0 for 4. 2 down.
Strike zone discipline has just vanished for CO recently, chasing pitches like he did in that at bat. Fastballs up, sliders away.
2 down now, pitcher spot up. Here's Phil Gosselin. 284, he's got 2 homers. Gosselin had a pair of hits, including a double in his start Friday in the series opener here. Scored twice. Doubled and scored in the 1st in that ball game Friday. Singled in the 2nd, came into the Pollock grand slam. One and two. Two and two, 2 outs. Daniel Hudson throwing in the Diamondback bullpen. Looks like Huddy will get the bottom of the game. As they hit for Delgado here. But he pitched Friday's ball game. 1 inning, had 2 strikeouts and 13 pitches. Good take there by Gosselin. Kelly started walking back to the dugout. Didn't get the call from Anthony Johnson. And it's full 3-2.
I think he was expecting a swing and a miss there on that slider just off the outside corner. It wasn't close enough to be a called strike. Usually.
Must be the shadows. Came inside and missed there. He loses Gosselin, a 2-out walk. That's the 6th walk issued by Padres pitchers.
Yeah, watch this ball flash out of the dark into the sunlight briefly and then disappears again.
It's quick, even in slow motion.
Wow.
Good luck. It's like a 60 Minutes interview when they shadow out the guy's face. Can't see anybody down there. Well, here is the man of the hour, Ender Inciarte. What a day he's had. 4 for 4, 2 singles and 2 home runs. Ender in the 5th, solo shot with 2 outs off James Shields. And then with Socrates Brito at first in the 7th, a 2-run homer to make it a 4-2 ball game. After the Padres had come back to tie it up.
4 for 4 day for Ender raises his average 5 points, which right now puts him in a tie with Francisco Cervelli, depending on what the Pirates catcher did today.
This one has bounced to second for Jerko. Bottom 8 coming up. Diamondbacks lead the Padres 4-2. Of the 8th inning. Tomorrow on the Brad Sesmat Football AZ show, Jody Jackson stops by. Wait, what? No. Plus a recap of this weekend's football action in Arizona. The Cardinals news is great today. The collegiate, not so much. That's tomorrow, 6 and 10 right here on Fox Sports Arizona. Brad Sesmat's Football AZ. Daniel Hudson will work the bottom of the 8th. He'll work to Justin Upton, Brett Wallace, and Jed Jerko. 4, 5, and 6 scheduled up for the Padres. Goldie is in the game. He takes over at first for Yasmani Tomas.
A solid job by Yasmani over at first base today. Wasn't challenged a lot, but made a couple of nice plays.
He's had a good defensive road trip, Yasmani Tomas, both in left field and at first base. So there's Goldie. He'll get in the game, as Chip Hale told us he likely would, either as a pinch hitter or defensive replacement. He'll bat 6th. So he would be due up 5th in the top of the 9th inning. Justin Upton 0 for 3. He'll lead it off. Upton 1 for 10 in the series, so so far so good for the Diamondbacks against a guy who has been a real problem. A .318 career hitter versus the D-backs with 5 homers this year against Arizona, but he's been quiet in this series. I got news for you, Bob. The Bears stink.
Yeah.
There's a TV on in here, and the Bears are just getting clobbered by the Seahawks. Season just started.
Cutler's not even playing today. I think the backup's in there for the Bears.
He got hurt. Former Notre Dame great Jimmy Clausen. Let's hear A.J. Pollock defend this one. Those Golden Domers stick together. Notre Dame beat up on UMass yesterday. And here's the pride of Old Dominion, Daniel Hudson. Daniel Hudson, 97, right by Upton. 1 down in the 8th.
Well, at this point in the ball game, as a hitter, you're just swinging at the sound. Very, very tough to see, especially when Daniel Hudson's rushing it up there in the upper 90s.
Upton strikes out for the 3rd time today. Here's Brett Wallace. It's a great camera position they have here at Petco Park. Check that back foot. Wallace has singled and walked. He's 1 for 2. Well, there is nobody, not a soul on the left-hand side of the field. Chris Owings at shortstop, shaded sort of near the second base bag-ish. Jake Lamb in front of the second base umpire. Big cut there by Wallace, who has twice hit hard liners right into the shift. 1 for a base hit, 1 right at Aaron Hill. It's hard to tell where anybody is right now, but trust me, there's no one over there. You can see the right-hand side of your screen overloaded. These guys look like they're blindfolded up there. They might as well be with these shadows.
They feel like they're blindfolded. I'm telling you, it's tough to hit under ideal conditions. These are far less than ideal conditions right now.
Even for a guy like Brett Wallace, a couple of Pac-10 triple crowns at ASU in his back pocket. Just cannot pick up the baseball. And Daniel Hudson using that to his advantage. 2 strikeouts in the inning.
Change up that time after pounding away with fastballs in the mid to upper 90s earlier in the at-bat. Wallace figures I better speed up the bat just a little bit, and that's when Daniel dropped the changeup on him.
Jed Jerko 1 for 3, single back in the 2nd. You feel sorry for these guys. Well, a little.
No.
Not the last road game of the year. One more homestand to go starting Tuesday at Chase Field. 3 against the Rockies and 3 against the Houston Astros. Tickets at dbacks.com. Off day tomorrow. Robbie Ray pitches Tuesday against Colorado. Chase Anderson Wednesday, and Patrick Corbin in Patrick's final start this year will go Thursday. So your last chance to come out to Chase Field and see Patrick Corbin pitch is Thursday. Tickets at dbacks.com. Robbie Ray lined up to pitch the Tuesday game versus Colorado, and then, if necessary, that Sunday season finale against the Astros. That might be a do-or-die game for Houston. 1-2 on Jerko. Tommy Brady had another big game for the Patriots, I see.
What's new?
America's quarterback. What Roger Goodell has to say about that. 2-2. Well, nobody can see anything up there, and Daniel Hudson strikes out the side. 1-2-3. Here's what's next, brought to you by CenturyLink. We'll see David Peralta in the ninth. He homered his 17th of the year earlier in the ball game. D-backs up 4-2. That was the Cox Gig Life high-speed highlights. Ninth inning in San Diego. D-backs lead the Padres 4-2. John Edwards, who worked a scoreless 1-2-3 inning on Friday, will make his ninth appearance of the year. He's been very good so far. 1.17 ERA. Aaron Hill, A.J. Pollock, and David Peralta 2, 3, and 4 due up in the Arizona ninth. Aaron doubled in the fifth. He's 1 for 4. D-backs a chance to make this final road trip of the season and final road series of the year a winner. This is the rubber game of the 3-game set at Petco Park. They are 5 and 4 on the 10-game trip so far, so you can go 6 and 4 on the trip by taking 2 of 3 here. That's a nice way to end the road schedule for 2015.
You mentioned Daniel Hudson pitched Friday night, struck out 2 guys in that outing, so he's punched out 5 of the last 6 batters he's faced. The only guy that put the ball in play was a foul pop up to Goldie at first base.
Chip Hale was asked about Huddy before the game today. Excuse me, check swing foul there, right behind Dave McKay. And Chip told us that what they do with Daniel Hudson next year will be up to Huddy as much as it is up to the team. It sounds like they're going to let him decide. And knowing Daniel, he will probably tell you, on or off the record, that he'd like to start. But he's certainly been very effective back there in that bullpen. It's a high, lazy fly ball to short right for Kemp. And they'll talk about that over the winter. There will be a lot of discussion, but that was as open to the idea of Huddy starting next year as we've heard Chip all season. That was this morning. A.J. Pollock. And the thing that really encourages you about Daniel, Bob, I think, is that from the very first minute of spring training, all the way until his last appearance a moment ago, the velocity has been there consistently, high 90, sometimes even 100, from March all the way through the end of September here. So that leads you to believe he's shown no signs of fatigue or anything like that, coming off the double Tommy John surgery.
Of course, starting is a completely different animal than relieving, and you wonder if, with the increased workload every 5th day, hopefully throwing 100 pitches or more, if maybe that velocity would dip a little bit. But as a relief pitcher, there's been no drop-off.
Yeah, it's certainly a big check mark off the list when you look at durability. That's one of the issues with Daniel, or one of the questions anyway. How would it be this year? Well, so far, it's been really good. Brad Ziegler starting to kind of get it cranked up with the Diamondback bullpen. He's probably going to wait till they're 2 outs and throw a couple of pitches and come in. AJ's already walked twice today. He's ahead 3-1. He get 3 walks. That's the 7th base on balls issued by Padres pitchers.
And really should have 4 walks in the game. He was called out on strikes in that 3rd inning on a bad pitch.
And here you go, the orderly-like procession as the Marine section starts to head for the exits. If only every time you had to leave a ball game or the movies, it worked like that.
Yeah. If we could just get our traveling party to be that organized.
Well, Tom Candiotti in that big backpack, the governor pulling a suitcase. Peralta homered in the 4th, his 17th of the year. The home run David has only hit of this series. Somewhere in there is A.J. Pollock.
Watching AJ take his lead off first reminds me of bass fishing.
Huh?
Yeah, the bass is a predator fish, and they'll hide in the shade and wait for the bait fish to swim by in the sunlight and then come shooting out and grab them.
He'll be fishing in a week.
He's just waiting for that minnow to slide by in the sunlight right there. Go back in the shade and hide a little bit more.
Well, I always feel badly for these fish that you catch, but apparently they deserve it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, 2. Strikes out Peralta, 2 down in the 9th.
Steve, can I just interrupt real quick?
Who is this?
This is Todd.
Oh, hi, Todd. How are you?
I just want to
say. It
say.
didn't show up on my caller ID.
And that's on purpose. That may have been the greatest color analyst work I've ever heard in my life. I'm gonna remember that for 82 hockey games.
Never, I can tell you this, Todd, never has a Major League base runner been compared to a smallmouth bass. But that's what Bob brings to the table.
I don't even know what to say.
Todd Walsh, you're salty.
Well, the fishermen out there know what I'm talking about. Yeah, you find that shade line and you throw your lure right out along the edge in the sunlight. Yeah, if you can get a fish to bite on a frog with a propeller on its tail, you know, they deserve to be caught.
Is that the lure you're using?
Well, at times.
Now, Jody uses her bare hands.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's a real fisherman right there.
That's right. I just hope she's washed her hands since then. That was in Seattle. The baseball players in the offseason, they're all hunters and fishermen. The hockey players are golfers, right, Todd? They all golf because they have the summers off.
Yes.
Everybody except you. You can't get a break.
I've got to work on that.
Well, Salty strikes out. They strand the one-out walk. Bottom 9 coming up in the final road game of the year. Diamondbacks trying to make it a winner. Here comes Brad Ziegler. In San Diego, trying to win the series, the final road series of the year, with a 4-2 lead. Hey fans, celebrate Hispanic Heritage Day Saturday, October 3rd. It's presented by Budweiser. You'll enjoy a pregame street festival presented by APS, and then after the game, a concert featuring Latin recording artist Luis Coronel. It's brought to you by Sprint and Samsung. For tickets, visit dbacks.com. The Shadow Nose, Brad Ziegler, on to close this thing out. His 65th appearance of the year. Brad Ziegler has been outstanding in a closer's role all season long. The 1.94 ERA. He has converted 26 straight save opportunities. That's only 2 shy of the club record held by J.J. Putz. And you can see the shadow situation all over the infield here at the ballpark. Derek Norris, the catcher, will lead it off for the Padre ninth. He's 0 for 3. He has struck out twice. I don't imagine, Bob, that the Shadows are any better with Brad Ziegler throwing as he does versus Daniel Hudson throwing 97-mile-an-hour fastballs.
No. I mean, extreme velocity or extreme movement will work under these conditions.
Bounced over the mound. Aaron Hill behind the bag, and he makes a nice play to get Norris. 1 pitch, 1 out for Ziegler. Pitcher spot coming up now as you get another look at a nice play here through the shadow and off the mound by Aaron Hill. Harvey Solarte will hit for the pitcher, which is 8th in the Padre order. And then Clint Barmas, who came in to replace Amarista, will be next. So here's Solarte. 274 and 13 homers. He popped up to end the ball game. As a pinch hitter, that was Friday against Brad Ziegler. Anthony Johnson is ready. We can begin.
Here's a bookkeeper back there. Took him a little while to make the appropriate change on his lineup card.
It's hard to write in the dark. Shatters the bat right at the handle. An easy roller to Aaron Hill. Where the bat exploded right over his hands there. So a pretty good job here by Brad Ziegler. 3 pitches, 2 outs. So last man standing for the Padres, Clint Barmas, the veteran shortstop. His playing time has all but vanished. He's 4 for 29 at the plate since the end of August. And he's at .240 on the year. Diamondbacks off tomorrow. 3-game series against the Rockies at Chase Field starts Tuesday. 2-2. Ciarte runs it down. Brad Ziegler gets the save, and the Diamondbacks get the win. 4-2 on a big day. Appropriately, Ender Ciarte records that final out after he goes 4 for 4 with his first ever multi-home run game. 2 singles and 2 homers for Ender. He drove in 3 of the 4 D-backs runs.
Nice solid road trip for the Diamondbacks, going home 6-4 on this 10-game swing through the West Coast. And you got to start learning how to win in these National League West ballparks if you want to compete in this division. This was a good step forward today.
Diamondbacks finished the season series 9-10 against the Padres, so San Diego takes the season series by a game. D-backs went 4-5 here at Petco Park in 2015.